Hey guys, what the heck is going on? Sam here. So coming at you today with another GOAT deck profile, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm only about halfway excited about showing you guys this one because this is a GOAT format deck, but this is an FTK deck, and FTKs are not fun for anybody. And a GOAT format is something that we play because it's something different and it's still fun. And I really didn't want to put something like this out there in the open and people get mad at me or whatever about finally putting it out. But I've had a lot of people request this deck here recently, and I've really been kind of conflicted over the last few months about even if I should put this deck out there because, like I said, it's an FTK deck. But I went to a couple of GOAT tournaments in the last few months, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought I had seen everything as far as GOAT format and FTK, OTK, burn, empty jar, shenanigans. But I have seen a lot of other new decks really kind of come to the surface here recently, and really just people getting creative. And I thought, you know what, I'm not the only one that's come up with an FTK deck, so I'm gonna just go ahead and put this out in the open, and people can get mad at me if they want. It is what it is. It's an FTK deck. It's a very fun, consistent, and fun FTK deck. It may not be fun for your opponent, but you know what? You tell them, opponent, you can play this deck too and have fun. But if I'm being honest, a lot of people that are just playing GOAT matches, I don't know about tournaments, but in matches, people do gentlemen's agreements where nobody plays any FTK, OTK, burn, and all that kind of stuff. So, this deck is what it is, and I just wanted to finally put it out. It took me a long time to make. It took me about 50 or 60 days of testing every day for a little bit to finally build it. And I changed the ratios every day. I kind of sat on my thoughts, and this is what I came up with. And I'm not going to show you guys replays on this channel because I wanted to give a chance to highlight another channel, Genzo and Tonic. It's a pal of mine from across the world, literally, and we play on YGO Pro and online sometimes. And we did a match a couple of months ago, and he has replays of this deck on his channel. So I'll link it down below in the description, and you guys can check out the the replay over on his channel. So a few things that I want to point out about this deck before I get into it is that, like I said, it's very consistent. And if you're not getting it at first, then keep at it. And it just takes a little bit to really figure out how the combos and stuff go. Secondly, I took this deck to a tournament a couple of months, I want to say, maybe it was like 3 or 4 months ago. And I ended up taking third out of 18 or 19 people. I went 4-1 in Swiss. There was 5 rounds of Swiss, and I won 4. And then in top 4, I lost, and I ended up getting 3rd place. So I did take it to one tournament, and I do want to point out that I will never take this deck to another tournament ever. Yeah, guys, and I'm gonna show you guys the deck and show you all my cards, text, ratios, choices, and try to really explain the combos the best that I can and any significant and mildly significant card choices or things you might need to know, I guess, when it comes down to really playing this deck. So yeah, let's get into it. The card that made me want to start this deck was Lekunga. This card is super broken, and it's one of those cards that's not a once per turn, and I'm going to read its effect for you guys. This card says, by removing from play 2 water monsters in your graveyard, special summon 1 Lekunga token, plant, water, level 2, attack and defense, both 700, in attack on your opponent, on your side of the field. And you know what? Cards like this really get my gears turning as far as like deck building, because they're not once per turn. Stuff like this or Treasure Panda or stuff like that, I'm like, man, why would they make cards like this? Because it's just crazy. And what's crazy is this card is illegal and modern, and people could probably make some really broken decks with it, if I'm being 100% honest. Or don't. You know what? I didn't say that. I'll just I may or may not edit that part out. I don't know. But anyway, so this card is just really kind of crazy. And I was like, man, that's cool. Let's make an FTK deck out of this card. And then, so I got to searching, and after a few days, I really decided on Catapult Turtle being the second contender for this deck because it has an effect. Its pre-rata is not once per turn either. You can keep burning your opponent, and it's a water monster. So I said, okay, how can we really try to utilize these? And I came down to this build, and so I'm going to get into this combo for you guys. First, I'm going to go over the combo, and then I'm going to kind of show off a few of the other card choices, and I'm going to skip back and forth between monsters and spells and that kind of stuff. So, Lekunga, you want to banish 2 monsters from your grave that are water to special summon a token. Now, in order for this combo to go through, you're going to need Lekunga on the field to finally initiate the combo at the end. You can use this card to combo out throughout your turn to get to the final part of the combo, if that makes any sense. But this needs to be face up on the field to resolve your final, like, just plan of killing your opponent. Now you want to banish 2 of these. It can be another copy of Lekunga and 2 Catapult Turtle, or it can be 2 Catapult Turtle. Either way, 1 Catapult Turtle will have to be part of this combo, but you just need 2 of these 3. Yeah, you want to make sure that you banish them, and then you're going to special summon a token. So these 2 are going to get banished, and then we'll special summon a token and face up attack. That is 700 attack. Now you want to bring these monsters back with something called Dimension Fusion, which we also play 3 of, I just want to point out. But also, in the midst of all this, Demok is in play. Now, Demok is also one of those not once per turn monsters. So you're going to bring back all 3 of these cards with Dimension Fusion. And now you're going to get Dimension Fusion, and now Demok is going to add back Dimension Fusion whenever you bring him back. There's like kind of an endless loop. Like you bring back Demok, Dimension Fusion gets added back to your hand whenever it is activated. So, and Demok hits the field. And these are all like pre-ratas. I just want to point that out because, you know, this is GOAT format. And then what will happen will be this will go in attack, and then this will go in defense. I like putting this in defense just to feel better. Catapult Turtle will blow up the token, will blow up Lekunga, will blow up Demok. Demok will get banished because of its effect. The token will fizzle. This will go to the grave, and then Catapult Turtle will blow up itself for another 500. And then Lekunga will banish these. Now these 3 will be banished at this point. And then you will bring them all back with a Dimension Fusion that you added to your hand with Demok. And then it'll go boom, boom, boom. Oh, I'm sorry. And then there will be a token because you banished these. So what's really cool about this token and Lekunga is this token, it doesn't have any restrictions on like other tokens, like scapegoat tokens or any of that kind of stuff. Like you can, you know, keep just burn it, you know, tribute this card, you know, for whatever. There's been times where, you know, I needed to get this card on the field, and I had special summoned like Lekunga with like reasoning or, you know, that kind of whatever, and then I just tributed the token for the Catapult Turtle, and it, you know, it's really cool. So this token is actually like a broken token, no pun intended. But anyway, so that's the whole combo, and you will do enough damage to your opponent before you do 8,000 damage to yourself. Now you can use this card 3 times, obviously, because you'll go from 8,000 to 6 to 4 to 2, and you will use this card 3 times before, and then by the time at the end of the 3rd time, you will kill your opponent. And if not, there are different ways that I will explain here within the deck as I show you guys the deck. So anyway, that's the combo, and then let's get into the rest of this. So say Demok is in the grave, or you have, you know, both Lekungas in the grave, or whatever. You play cards like Soul Release. Soul Release will banish all of your shit from the grave, and then you will be able to bring it back with things like Dimension Fusion, which we play 3 of. I just want to point out again. So there's that. And then to cycle through your deck, we play cards like Reasoning. Reasoning is great. I like opening with this card. If I see this card, it's my very first play because you're able to put monsters on the board. Hopefully, if your opponent doesn't guess it right. And then you don't have to waste your normal summon. And then you can spend your normal summon on things like Lekunga or other cards we'll get into here in a little bit. So yeah, we play 3 of this card. Once they figure out what's going on, they will always call either 4, 5, or 8 because those are your 3 main combo pieces. And it just kind of depends on which one your opponent thinks is more important, if I'm being completely honest. I want to say probably like at least 50% of the time they'll call 4 because of Lekunga. The other 25% of the time it just kind of depends on if they want to call 5 or 8. But most of the time it'll be 4 because they'll see that that is like, you know, the combo piece. They're all, you know, combo pieces, and it really just kind of depends on which one is like the most threatening one in your opponent's eyes. Then we play 3 copies of Monster Gate to help cycle through the deck. We play 7 monsters in this deck, so you will just mill hella spells to the grave, and then Demok will help you kind of just choose which of the freaking like 15 or 20 spells that you just milled. And you can add that to your hand, yeah, if you end up, you know, getting Demok. Monster Gate is the other really good starter card because it doesn't matter what your opponent thinks you're gonna mill, you get to mill you get to mill whatever, and special summon whatever. Like, you know, with Reasoning, obviously they get to call it, but with this, it just is what it is. So, and then we play a copy of a Premature Burial in case you need to search through your grave for any of your combo pieces that you are missing, or in case DMOC is just in the grave and it needs to be, it needs to add back Dimension Fusion or whatever. Premature Burial is also good. If you ended up having to, what's the best way that I can explain this? If you ended up having to activate Dimension Fusion before your combo got started, here's the best way that I can explain this. If Dimension Fusion was activated for you to help set up combo, but you weren't able to burn your opponent for any damage from using this one, then later on in the game you can try to premature back the DMOC after you destroy it with Catapult Turtle, but first you have to chain Book of Moon to it, and then it'll go to the grave instead of getting banished. And then that way you don't have to take the 4th set of 2k, you will actually only take 800, and you will end up killing your opponent with 1200 life points. And that's just kind of how that works. So premature is really good, but really the main point is to just search through your grave and special summon this, special summon this, special summon this, or every once in a while you'll special summon something like one of these two, and you'll flip them face down and with the Book of Taiyu, the Book of Moons that we play. But that's just kind of that happens like maybe once out of every 15 or 20 times. I don't even know. But most of the time you'll want to set these, and then you'll just flip them up with cards like this that are not once per turn, or these also aren't once per turn, and these aren't once per turn. Man, they're all just like crazy broken. So Book of Taiyu is really good. In case you don't know what Cyber Jar does, you can you destroy all the monsters on the field, and then you and your opponent look at the top 5 cards of y'all's decks, and then you can special summon face up in attack or face down in defense, depending on your preference if it's level 4 or under. So Cyber Jarring into a Morphing Jar is GG, like 100% of the time. It's not even funny. But if you end up resolving a face down jar and you flip it up with Taiyu, 90 or 95% of the time that's game. Just because of like how this deck works and how consistent it is. A few things that I want to say about this whole package is with Morphing Jar, the majority of your spells are spells that you can set and then activate later, like Dimension Fusion, Premature Burial, Soul Exchange. I'm sorry, not Soul Exchange. What the hell am I even talking about? Dimension Fusion. God dang, guys. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Monster Gate. All these are like pretty much normal spells or equip spells or whatever, and you're able to set them and then activate them later. There are very few cards like Book of Moon that you can't set, and you have to like either throw away or you have to activate it right there on the spot. So if you have like a Book of Taiyu in your hand and you want to flip that over, then you can just chain the Book of Moon from your hand to reset the Morphing Jar. And if you draw into another Taiyu, then dude, you're just like, it's just GG at that point. Yeah, so there's very little cards that you really have to like throw away because of Morphing Jar, I guess that you could say. There's very few quick plays. So yeah, that's pretty much what that is. These are the last of the 6th and the 7th monster that really just help you kind of cycle through the deck. Once you get all that done and you don't have any more ways to flip them face up or face down, then you'll just monster gate them away. Or you'll tribute them for things like Catapult Turtle, if you ended up reasoning into these cards. So nobody will ever call 2 or 3. They'll always call 4, 5, or 8 because obviously those are the combo pieces. Yeah, so unless they just call 2 or 3 like just from the get-go, and they just get lucky as hell because there's only 1, 2, and 1, 3, which just happened. I mean, and that's kind of stupid. But anyway, yeah. So like I said, one last thing I want to say about this whole bunch of cards is sometimes you can't activate Dimension Fusion the 4th time, or you will kill yourself, because ironically, you can only activate this card if you have the amount of life points. It's kind of like Duo. You can't activate a Link of Duo if you don't have 1,000 life points. If you have 800 left, you can't activate it. But with Dimension Fusion, you can activate it because you have 2,000. But ironically, you have exactly 2,000, so it will kill you. So if there's a reason that you can't activate another copy of this, but you need a big monster like a DMOC on the field to kill your opponent with Catapult Turtle, then the time before that, you'll activate Catapult Turtle, you'll chain the Book of Moon, DMOC will flip first, and then it will go to the grave instead of banishing, and then you can bring it back with Premature, and you will kill your opponent with 800 life points left. I'm sorry, 1,200 life points left. You'll only spend 8. If all that makes sense. So the rest of these cards are pretty much just consistency cards, and this is going to be kind of weird for you guys. You guys might think I'm like crazy, but 2 upstarts, and I guess the easiest way that I can put this is you will kill your opponent. You will do 10,000 damage to your opponent with only activating 3 copies of Dimension Fusion, and that's just the way that this deck works. It's just you're able to do a ton of damage, even only burning your opponent for half of each of those. It's just kind of crazy. So yeah, 2 upstarts just kind of for consistency. And then we play Pot of Greed, Pot of Greed, Pot of Greed. Charity, something I want to say about Charity is be mindful of what you have in your hand, like things like Premature or the Soul Release / Dimension Fusion combo. Because those are like cards that you're going to want to discard. Most of the time, you're going to want to discard one of these 2 because these can't be normal summoned. Every once in a while, you can normal summon Demok if you end up reasoning into Lekunga, and then you banish other monsters. Like you've only seen water monsters at that point, and then you banish 2 other water monsters for a token, and then you have Lekunga and a token, and you haven't even like normal summoned yet, so you contribute those 2 for Demok. I just want to point that out. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So Demok and this will mainly be your targets that you want to discard for Charity. Charity, you also need to discard your second copies of things like Soul Release or stuff like that. Just parts of the combo you don't really need yet. Be really mindful, like I said, of just like if you have Premature, if you have the Soul Release, Dimension Fusion combo. So yeah, that's what those are. Card Destruction is really great. Throw away as many monsters except for your jars, and throw away as many, pretty much all these cards I'll throw away all day long. I'll set stuff like this, but the rest of it I'll kind of really just throw away. Try to cycle through the deck as quick as you can, and as just as fast as you can, and utilize this card to the best of your ability, really. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to really say about card destruction. I guess one other thing about card destruction, just to kind of, remind myself that I'm a horrible person. If it doesn't look like you're going to kill your opponent, damage-wise, you can deck your opponent out. I've done it before, kind of just really abusing this card and the jars, and you can just you can empty jar your opponent into an auto lose. It really it kind of sucks. But really you just want to have fun burning them to death. We play 3 copies of Reload. This is the other card that you can't set before you activate Morphing Jar and Taiyu, but it's totally cool. Throw this card away. I mean, it's just really if you're Morphing Jar and Taiyuing, then chances are you're looking good anyway, and you probably won't need something like Reload. And you have other copies in the deck later if you need them. Drag Down is really, it's kind of weird. It's probably one of the weirdest cards in this deck because it's never a card that you activate from the get-go. You activate this card when it's like you have like 10 or 15 cards or less in deck, and you're really just trying to like search for the rest of your combo pieces, and you want to kind of force your opponent, which is kind of cool. You can force your opponent to throw away the things that you need. Like if you have like a Demok or a Turtle in hand and you really need them on the field, and you have like this or the Dimension Fusion Soul Release combo, you can really just kind of manipulate your opponent into choosing whatever card you want. And then not to mention, this card is really good. Like if you're not gonna if your opponent's just like they sided like crazy against you, they sided all the Book of Moons and all the Ring of Destructions and all of the whatever against you, cards like this, cards like Soul Release, and then just cards like Demok can really just Book of Moon. You can play a fair attack and defense game against your opponent because of cards like that. Oh my god! But all day long, I will throw away these cards on card destruction. Like card destruction, man, I'll throw away those and the reloads and the upstarts and my second copies of Soul Release and whatever all day long. And then lastly, we play 3 copies of Spell Reproduction. This really just kind of fetches for whatever piece you're missing out of your grave that you need to help initiate the combo at the end of the turn. So you play 33 spells, so chances are you're not going to have a dead one of these in your hand. I have actually There's been one time on and I have the replay on my computer, but I opened up one of these and 5 monsters, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess I don't really know what to do. I think I opened up 2 Lekunga, 2 Catapult Turtle, and D-Mock, and I was like, all right. Normal summon Lekunga pass. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't really have an extra deck. Oh, there's my other Dimension Fusions. I don't really have an extra. I'm sorry. Well, obviously I don't have an extra deck, but I don't have a side deck. These are the only cards that I side in if I'm going second. And it's game 3, and my opponent's really just figured out what I'm doing, and they know how to side. If I find out that my opponent knows how to side against me, then I'll side stuff like this, and I will side out either 3 of these and 1 of these, or 3 of these and 1 of these, because these are kind of the cards that really just allow you to, you know, kind of dig when you can't really dig because your other combo pieces weren't, you know, there. So yeah, that's kind of really what it is. I really don't side. I maybe have sided like 3 or 4 times out of the year that I've played these cards, but those are the only ones you really need. And they're just to really help you try to clear your opponent's board so you can you know, kind of get FTK going. So that's the deck, guys. I apologize for making it and showing it to you guys, but it is what it is, and I hope you like it. And if your opponent doesn't like them, then you can tell your opponent that they can play it. And then they can have fun with it, and they can win tournaments. So anyway, thank you guys again. Thank you for watching, for hanging out. Feel free to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And let me know if you guys want to see more GOAT content, and we'll see you later.